Welcome back to Dunstan Kiwi Bred. Masterton's Williams family have plenty to smile about after the success of resident stallion Incanto's first crop of 2-year-olds on the racetrack. I spoke with Sam Williams about the rise of the Italian stallion.
Del Cello ranged up to battle time, 2 lengths away. Marky Mark's looking to run on, so too is Incanto. Del Cello made the lead at the 100 metres. Marky Mark and Incanto's running on with Strata Lady. Battle time still there, but they're going to get another one, and it's Del Cello. Del Cello wins the Houndui Farm Diamond Stakes. And over the final stages, the son of Incanto, out of Sent From Heaven, will go on and score and win by a length and a half. Battle time's got a big race. Third over will be Incanto. Almost a Incanto Quinella.
It was just the magic result Incanto needed. Del Cielo coming up trumps with a win in the Group 1 Diamond Stakes at Ellerslie. A first Group 1 win for a first crop stallion in the first Group 1 2-year-old race of the season. And to top it all off, another son, Incanto, finished close up in third, delighting Little Avondale Stud master Sam Williams.
To get a Group 1 winner, to breed a Group 1 winner anywhere is big, but to get it in your first crop with a new stallion, you know, it sort of takes them to another level. And when Hocus Pocus stepped out at Wanganui and won the first 2-year-old race, you know, we got, you know, the phone was ringing then. But when Del Cello rang and when he won, yeah, look, it just went berserk.
There has been nobody more confident of Incanto's potential than Sam Williams, but even he says the stallion's early runners have exceeded his expectations.
I've always said, and I maintain, they're going to be far better 3- and 4-year-olds, and whatever they did at 2 was going to be a bonus, perhaps step out in the autumn as 2-year-olds. But to get 2 Group 1 performers, Del Cello and Incanto, massive, it really has been, and finished up with 8 individual winners as 2-year-olds, so yeah, really thrilled. I was hoping that we'd get a couple runners there on the track, and yeah, if you got 4 or 5 winners, that would be fantastic. If you got a black type performer, that was going to be the icing on the cake. But to get 3 black type performers, you know, Nahima, she should have been a Group 2 Matamata Breeder Stakes winner. But unfortunately, you know, it wasn't to be. But look, the way he kicked off, and it wasn't just colts either, it was fillies and colts, and mentally they're very mature. They've got unbelievable brains on them, and if you talk to Murray and Stephen, Gary Vile, Royden Burgesson, they all say that they're very sensible. Look, as yearlings, they're fantastic to deal with. They've got a great constitution about them, but physically they're coping with it on the racetrack, and mentally their brains are taking them all the way to the races, which is just, you know, first notch.
Fast gaining a reputation for passing on his unflappable demeanour to his progeny, Incanto is relishing getting back into his work in the new breeding season.
He's a horse that's been, you know, pretty device-free. He's pretty easy going. His biggest problem is his condition. You can't feed him too much. But look, yeah, at 10 minutes past 12 midnight on the first, he covered his first mare. He had 4 for the first day, and look, he's going to be a busy boy. But we have limited his numbers, so he's got off to a great start. He's so laid back, and look, he's a typical stallion. He's a real boy. But to handle him, he's brilliant. And his breed cover with his mares, he's a real Italian, he's a real lover. He wants to take them on the first date, second date and the third date. But yeah, no, look, he's a dream horse to handle. And we're actually lucky here at LA Stud that all 3 of our stallions have got wonderful temperament. So it makes things a lot easier, I can tell you.
An American-bred Italian Group 3 winning son of Street Cry, Incanto has begun his 5th season of serving at Little Avondale Stud, with Sam Williams restricting his 2015 book to 140 mares. That was from some 300 applications, a clear illustration that breeders are sharing Williams's faith in the Italian stallion.
The shareholders have actually taken up the majority of the horse, but there are mares coming from the other side of the Tasman. Shadwell, they're sending 5 mares across. There's a handful of other Australian mares coming across, but we haven't forgotten the people that have got behind the horse in year 1 and year 2 and supported the horse right from the word go. That's been important, but unfortunately we were limited to only 32 outside spots because the number of the noms taken up by the shareholders exceeded our expectations.
Williams and his good mate, Masterton bloodstock agent Bruce Perry, sourced Incanto from Shadwell Stud. having inspected the stallion and deciding they weren't leaving without having secured him for their own. And now Incanto is adding another chapter to a proud legacy of stud farming for the Williams family.
75 years this year that the Williams family has been in the breeding game, and we've had a lot of fun and enjoyment out of it. And Katrina and I and Buzz and Suze, you know, we're very proud to be continuing on the legacy that was set off by our grandparents. Yeah, Oncidium was a fantastic stallion. He died when he was only young. He was only 12, I believe, and you know, he won the Jewish Trophy 3 times. Agricola won it once. So I mean, this horse has got a wee way to go before he can top of the deeds of those horses, that's for sure. But look, I've loved the horse right from the go. I've got right behind the horse and supported him, and the breeders have got right behind the horse and supported him. So look, it's exciting times ahead, there's no doubt about that. The horse still has to do it, but the talk out there from the trainers is very bullish for this season, so let's wait and see.
While the proof will be in the pudding as the Incanto 3-year-olds set about impressing in their classic season, Williams remains bullish the racing stock is out there to do their sire proud.
I think it's important, you know, that we see these 2-year-olds go the next step. You know, that is vital. You know, Dalcello and Waikato, you know, they're going to have to perform, and we do know that some 2-year-olds don't come up as 3-year-olds. I think they will. I've seen both horses just recently, and they have developed quite somewhat. I've always maintained Dalcello will be a far better miler, and I maintain that, and I think he'll be a fantastic horse in the autumn. I really do. But yeah, look, I think we will see these horses get out over ground. Street Cry's progeny are predominantly mile to 2,000 metre horses, and I think you're going to see this bloke, you're going to see these horses get over a bit more ground. But he's got thrown the speed into them, and that's what really counts in the races.
That's Incanto, a stallion who's really made a great start to his stud career. Emily, I guess at this stage you couldn't have asked for much more.
No, and 10 individual winners now puts him in great standing.
Sure does. Still to come here on Dunstan Kiwi Bred is a look at Mapley Stud's new stallion Atlante and this week's Pedigree of the Week, Pasadena Girl.
But as we continue to profile some of the characters behind the scenes in the New Zealand thoroughbred breeding industry, I had the opportunity to sit down with marketing manager at Waikato, Ange Bridson.
Day to day, my priority is to come in and be promoting what's our most important attributes that week. So on a day-to-day basis, I'll come in, check the emails and just prioritise what we've got ahead for the week. My number one priority will always be the results on the racetrack and celebrating those. Social media has become a big part of the role nowadays. And then also looking at a lot of the role is organisation. So prioritise what have we got coming up this week. Do we have any functions where we've got people coming to the stud that we're hosting? Do we have any advertising commitments we need to create some material for? And then also part of the role is also the human resources. So looking at the staffing side of things and thinking, do we need to employ anyone else, and how are we best to recruit for that person?
How did you end up here? A love for the breeding industry or marketing? I
would have to say I'm very lucky in that it's both. It started very young, just watching a movie called Far Lap, and that I was just a pony mad girl and saw that movie and thought that that was a really inspiring story. And then went to university and was doing marketing and management and some arts papers, and decided that there were a lot of marketing graduates and I enjoyed the marketing side more so than the management side. So I decided to do a postgraduate study, a Master of Business, focusing on marketing. And how the two worlds sort of combined was that I approached Lisa Chittick to say, look, I have to do this project for a year. I'd love to do it on branding in the thoroughbred industry and to see whether the Waikato Stud brand adds something when a horse goes through the arena as a yearling or when you're offering a stallion service. So I was really lucky in that I was able to combine my love of both.
What would you say is the highlight? What really gets you up in the morning and makes you excited to come into work here?
I guess it's the unfolding story every day. You become very attached to the horses. You like turning that next page and seeing who's the next great horse for Pins or Savabeel or any of the boys here, or what mare has foaled that night that you're coming in to see, and you know, it's just every day there's a different page, and just you keep following it because you're so intrigued and you love what you do. You love the horse.